Welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to be here. Every time you're watching this, good morning, good afternoon, good night. The agenda is always going to be the same. We're here to talk about more life. All right, let's get this disclaimer out the way before we start. I am not a doctor, I am not an expert, and I am definitely not qualified to give you guys any professional advice, professional insight, professional diagnosis, nothing of that sort. I can only give you my personal advice, my personal experiences, and my personal insight. This is all just personally from me and what I know. I encourage you guys to do your own research, watch as many videos as you can regarding to this topic from people like me and also from professionals. Read some books, Google, eat up as much knowledge as you can on this topic. Don't just go based off of one person or one source. On top of doing your research, make sure that you're being very self-aware and very aware of people around you. I swear, the more that you observe and as you're eating up this knowledge, you'll see. You'll be able to put two and two together, whether it's about yourself or someone else. Regardless of your specific struggle, prioritizing your mental health is very necessary. Nobody likes to talk about it. Nobody likes to acknowledge it as something that is very real and can affect your everyday life. In this video, I will be giving you tips on how to prioritize your mental health, regardless of the fact if you have a diagnosis already or if you feel fine. It is still very important to prioritize your mental health. If you are interested, keep watching. There are a lot of negative associations to mental health. It's like when people hear those words, they're automatically thinking of craziness, being hospitalized, taking medication. While that is true in a lot of cases, that is not all there is to it. You may not even know that you have a mental disorder because you're passing it off as something else. The effects of the negative connotations to mental health results in people not wanting to seek help, feeling embarrassed, brushing it off themselves because everybody else is brushing them off. Half the time, you don't even realize that the person that you're going to about your mental health, about this very sensitive topic, may not even have the capacity to understand what you're going through. So of course, they're gonna brush you off. You have to go to people who can understand you. And if you don't have anybody to understand you, if there's nobody that seems like they know what you're going through, there's resources everywhere, limitless resources, free resources. You're using one right now. If you feel like there's something imbalanced within you and that's affecting just your everyday life, I'm gonna need you to pay attention to that feeling, and I'm gonna need you to be there for yourself, even if there's nobody else trying to be there for you. Because again, they may not even understand, they may not have the knowledge. But regardless of who's there and who's not, make sure that you are there for yourself. Create a space of less judgment and hate coming from yourself and more support coming from yourself. Take time with yourself. Be patient. Don't badmouth yourself. Oh my God, you're so lazy. You're so dumb. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you. You're not good enough. Anything that the voices are telling you, because I already spoke about this. The voices, they can go suck. But look inwards. Dig deep to figure out why you're feeling. Well, not even first of all, let's figure out what you're feeling, and then you figure out why you're feeling this way. And honestly, this takes time. It's a process, but once you start, it's kind of like you can't stop. You can't stop looking at yourself once you start. So that's the main goal. Just start looking at yourself. You don't have to have all the answers in one sitting. You can literally take time to discover what's inside of you. And this only works if you're willing. Nobody can force you to look inside you. You gotta be willing. You have to be willing to do it yourself. So remember that. Will. The only way that you can truly come to a solution is if you know what the problem is in the first place. Be real about what's throwing you off balance. Even if it may sound silly, may sound pathetic, be real. Like, if you can be real with anyone, make sure that you can be real with yourself at all times. Be vulnerable with yourself all times. Like, you have to. That is necessary. On top of the self-work, make sure that you are, again, eating up all this knowledge from reliable sources. You're consuming things that you can relate to, connect to, and that will ultimately benefit you in helping you prioritize your mental health, know more about your mental health, and just knowing that you have a support. Like so many people that go through either the same thing or very similar things. The brain is so fragile and trauma can literally fuck it over. And before you know it, you're fucked over. And you can be fucked over for life if you don't even nitpick that problem, if you don't go after that problem, if you don't even realize it as a problem. On top of paying attention to yourself, doing your research when it comes to prioritizing your mental health, this next tip that I'm gonna give, if it resonates with you, it does. If it doesn't, there's other tips in this video that can. Okay, but when it comes to my own mental health, the way that I prioritize it, one of the things that I do is I speak to God. As someone that I can be extremely transparent with, extremely honest about all of my frustrations, my confusions, even if I'm saying something bad about myself in the moment. I have that space to do so, not only with myself, but to a higher power. And if you don't believe in a higher power, then to each his own. But if you do have that higher power, whether it's God or whatever you may believe in, the goal is to be transparent, to be willing to receive an answer and make that change, if that makes sense. If you do believe in a higher power, hopefully they send you help. But that's literally what God does for me. He sends me help, whether it's giving me some peace within after I've expressed all of everything. He allows me to be in triggering situations, and it's up to me to take a step back and observe, be self-aware, but also be aware of the other person. Another way to prioritize your mental health is by having your mental days off, because you need it. You are not a robot. It's so important to maintain your balance within you. If you are in balance, I guarantee you it will reflect on the outside in your everyday actions, in your relationships, and ultimately everything is gonna suffer around you. Mental days off may look different from person to person. One thing for sure, two things for certain, social media is out of here on mental days off. Like, social media is so draining and so time consuming. You're literally taking away from yourself while you're scrolling for hours, indulged in what other people are doing, drama, indulged in everyone else's success while you're still feeling shitty inside. It makes no sense. Like, go take care of yourself or something. Your mental health is so important. A lot of the time, people don't realize their problems come from within. If you were to just look on the inside and tackle those problems, you'll see that all the issues that you had on the outside are magically solved because you solved what's on the inside. Like, you literally cannot solve a problem if you don't know it. If you're bypassing it, if you're downplaying it. It's okay to be the problem. It's okay to have an issue because they can always be solved if you're willing to do the work. Prioritizing your mental health is a lifetime thing, even if those around you may not be able to understand what you're going through at the moment. Make sure that you are never brushing yourself off. You are gaining your knowledge, connecting with people who can relate to you. You're also giving your issues and all your frustrations and your problems to a higher power so that you can get that supernatural help if that's what you believe in. Make sure to remember that you are not a robot. And you need your mental days off. You time to yourself. You need time to recollect, regroup, reevaluate, all of that. Like, there's a lot that goes on in this world alone. There's a lot that goes on in people's daily lives. It's important to take that time for yourself. Knowledge is power. Action is power. And just remember, pressure makes diamonds, baby. See you in the next video.